Hey there! So this is the first part of the self-care series. So we're starting on the ball rolling into the self-care areas. Now this first video is part one, and there will be more videos. I don't know for sure, maybe 4 or 5 videos in the self-care series. What happens with self-care is it kind of starts to bleed into self-love as we get through the areas. So the areas that I say for self-care are physical, which is the physical self-care element, and also we have relational self-care. We have our emotional, how are we dealing with our thoughts and things like that, self-care. Say spiritual self-care and mental maybe self-care. So the mental and emotional probably go together a little bit. So today I'm going to be talking about the physical aspect. It is the main one, and most of us know this one. We're very aware of what it is. Whether we do it or not, it is something that we know, right? And that's the area that tends to fall flat on its face often, and it's the reason why self-love is really hard. So the reason I want to talk about the self-care areas is because through getting those right, then you move into self-love and you can actually do and put in place structures and systems for your self-care. Now, without the foundation for your self-love, without the foundation of your self-care, self-love is going to be really, really tricky. Okay, that's one of the most important things that I really want to bring up, because when I first started this ball rolling, I started working through self-love in order to deal with all my inner issues and my esteem issues and stuff, which I've spoken to you about in previous videos. I really forgot the self-care element because it didn't seem so important as all the other stuff I was doing. However, if you're not doing the right things for your body, then your body will kick back when you try and attempt to move into loving aspects of self. Okay, right, so let's dive in to today's topic. So today we're going to be looking at physical self-care, and we're also going to be looking at sort of the mental and emotional stuff as well a little bit. I kind of will probably bleed these videos through. So today will be physical self-care and a bit of mental, and the mental will come up again in the next one with whatever I join it with. And then we'll bleed them along so that we can move into the self-love really, really smoothly, so that we've got a created system in place of what we need to do in order to move into the areas of self-love that will help us to really upgrade and up-level our lives. Because that's exciting, right? Because that's why we're doing it, right? The whole self-love area thing and self-care area thing is so that we can upgrade our lives. Now, if we're not doing those things, and if we're not putting those structures in place, then upgrading our lives and making them brilliant can become a little bit tricky for us and a bit harder for us. And this isn't where this journey is directed. This journey is directed at smooth, gentle progress, slow, small steps to rewire your life into brilliance and abundance, an abundance frequency, right? So let's start with physical self-care. Take a deep breath with me, and another one. Physical self-care is an interesting one because we often look at it in terms of the very simple things. So we look at it as getting enough rest. And I'm not saying that that isn't important, because it really is important that you get enough rest. However, we all know that we ought to be getting enough rest, right? We know these things. Whether we do them or not is another matter. Okay? And I'm a fine one for it because I'm an owl, which means that I really like to be up at night, which means when everyone else is asleep, I'm awake, and then I don't get enough sleep probably. So then that's not good self-care, right? So my example would be to get on board with starting to sleep a little bit earlier. And if not, make sure you just get enough sleep, which is what I do. I do make sure I get enough sleep. If you need to be in the office at 8 in the morning and you go into bed at 2 in the morning, then you need to be looking at what you're doing with your life and looking at whether that adequate rest is really happening or not. Because without adequate rest, you're also not going to be thinking adequately. So you're not going to be thinking well, which means you can make judgment errors. This is why this part's so important. It's actually more important than when we move into the other side, because if these things aren't tickety-boo, when I say tickety-boo, right, we're not looking for 100%. Perfection does not exist, regardless of how much humans want it. Perfection doesn't exist, okay? So we're kind of looking at the 60-40 rule or the 80-20 rule. We want to be at the 80% or at least the 60%. We can start at the 60, move into the 80 of how well we're doing at these things, okay? So then we can move on to sort of things like eating nutritious foods. Eating well and taking care of our bodies is really important. It's important that we make sure that we're eating healthy foods for ourselves. And if a food doesn't agree with us, now I'm a fine one for this, if a food doesn't agree with us, we shouldn't eat it. Now sometimes I know that, I don't know, that yen to have it might be there. So if it's there, make sure it's a moderation thing rather than a binging thing or an overeating thing. And it's recognizing that. And it's also looking to what we drink as well. What are you drinking? You know, you're drinking a lot of alcohol. I laugh because these are the things we get wired into. We get wired into having the things that make us feel better, like a panacea really. Because what we do is we maybe have alcohol to stymie our emotions, to stifle them and stuff them down, right? Or we overeat, like we overeat not so great things like chips and dips and chocolate and cake, and we overeat things that are not really beneficial to our system. Like I said, same with drink. So it's getting that, I suppose, the percentage right, like I was saying, the 80-20 rule, the 60-40 rule. Get it right. Be moderate about what you have. I mean, my other half laughs at me because I say things like, I'd like a bit of chocolate, and he'll bring me the chocolate bar and I'll take 2 pieces and I'll eat them, and he'll say, is that what you're going to have? And I'll say, I'm just having a taste. And he finds that really funny, this whole just having a taste. So, you know, find your moderate place and be in your moderate place. This isn't to say if you're crying and you've had a breakup that, you know, eating that pot of ice cream isn't going to happen. But what it is going to say is that you will be aware of these things within you, and you'll be aware of when you're having those down moments and how you lift yourself up out of them, which is obviously not having the whole tub of whatever ice cream it is you love. You know, that thing, isn't it, in the films with a whole tub of ice cream, you're sticking your spoon in and you're going, yummy, yummy, it's so nice. But really you're crying and you're thinking this life is so bad. So yes, you know, moderate that and find spaces that you can. Now, water is a big one. I find this a lot when I talk to people, because I only drink water really, or tea, and my tea is green tea or herbal tea, and I drink water all the other times. I don't really have things like cordials. I don't really have juices either. But I've noticed when I talk to friends and clients and people that I've worked with, they don't tend to have water. Find a way to put water into your system, into your body, right? Find a way to make it part of your routine, okay? Water is necessary. We need water, guys. We need it. Look, get yourself a lovely, I wish I had something I could show you. I've got a really nice glass, but it's far away, so I can't show you it. I don't know where it is, but I've got a nice glass. Get yourself a nice glass, or that you can drink out of, right? Or get yourself one of those water bottle things and fill it with water, and it will encourage you to drink out of it, especially if it's lovely and it looks nice and you've got it next to you on your desk or wherever you work or however you work. Make water a bit of a priority, right? Because it will really help you when you move forward, like I say, into the self-love areas, because you'll feel like all the other things. You'll feel well rested, you'll feel well nourished, you'll feel well watered, those kind of things, right? And then we move on to exercise. Now, how many of you are getting adequate exercise? You know, a lot of times when I talk to people, one of the things I find is they don't know exercise, like nothing, none at all. We need to find a way to bring some type of exercise into our lives, even if it's just walking, okay, that's fine, it's fine. You know, or if you love yoga, make time for yoga. Or, you know, Pilates, Zumba. There are so many different things. Find something you like and do it, but it needs to be active. It needs to be active. I'm thinking of rowing a kayak or rowing a boat or something now, or being in a kayak. Give yourself something that has action within it. It doesn't have to be fast. It really needs to have some movement in it though, okay? So your body's be given actual instructions to do movements that you ask it to do. Actually, quite a good one, which I don't do, but I understand, is Tai Chi and Qigong. Qigong. They're quite good for you. So find what works for your system, your body, and for your life, what fits in with your life. Now, you see, you guys know, or you may not know, but I'm going to say it, I'm a yoga teacher and a breathwork and meditation teacher, so I do a lot of exercise, really. I do my yoga once a day. I always do it. It's something that's part of my routine. Now, just before I go on, and with the word routine, some people do not like routines, and I recognise and understand that, okay? Some people do not like them, and that's fine. If you don't like routines, you don't have to make it a routine thing. However, what I would advise is make it a thing, something that you like to do, that you bring into your week, and it's there at least a couple to 3 times a week, okay? Because, you know, that is important for you, because it gives you that really good foundation and base to carry out the rest of your life with. Now, what about treating injuries and illness? This is the one that I really wanted to speak about with regard to physical self-care. Now, obviously, with everything that's been going on last year and this year, we all know taking care of ourselves is important. However, back in the day, back in the past, maybe even now to some degree, we are not the greatest at ensuring our systems are loved and cared for when we're sick. It's been a real thing where people have gone into work when they're really unwell, or people have carried on regardless through home things that they're doing, even though they don't feel good. Now, it's really important that the minute you start to feel funky, that you literally put a lid on it and take some pause and time for yourself. Now, the reason I say it is because when we don't take that time and pause for ourselves, guess what happens? Oh dear. Yeah, guess what happens? We burn out. We burn out, and then we struggle, and then we may even find that we're off work for longer, or off our life for longer, we're laid up for longer. And this is because we're not listening to the inner compass of ourselves, which says it needs rest and rejuvenation. Listen to your body, folks. It's beautiful once we do it, and it's really worth it. So the next one is to look at things like tooth care. Are you getting regular checkups, or at least making sure you're really looking after your teeth? Are you making sure your eyes are working right and you're seeing and your visibility is good? Get regular checkups, and if you don't get regular checkups, at least make sure that everything is right. Yeah? And anything, you get aches and pains. This is such a big one. As we get older, and I've seen this across the board, friends, family, anybody, clients, aches and pains, we ignore them. We just ignore them. And then they get bigger and they get louder and they get louder. And what happens when they get louder? You end up either in the doctor's surgery, or you end up in hospital maybe. This isn't about letting these noises get louder. They're about quietening them all the way down, so that they've been dealt with and loved, okay? So if you do have something come up and there is a little bit of an ache, at least get some understanding as to what it is. First, try some inner self-care and your own self-care and dealing with it. And then if you need a professional, go to a professional. You know, you can do holistic as well if that's the way you roll. Do what's best for you, but make sure that you are paying attention to that noise and giving it attention and love, so that it is better and that you can move forward into whatever it is you're doing. And another one I have, this is the last one, and I was going to talk about mental self-care today, but I'm actually going to bring that up in the next video instead. So I'll say a little bit about it, but not really deal with it today. So, but the last one I would say is touch. And this is an interesting one, considering how we've been over the last year or so, with the lack of hugging and the lack of attention to ourselves. if you're not getting that attention, please hug yourselves. Please give yourself that love. Yeah, give yourself touch. Touch is so important because we are physical beings. We're physical and connective beings, and we require that in order to fire on all cylinders. Okay, so yeah, get a hug in when you can. If you're still not hugging, then like I say, hug yourself. Give yourself that love and that protection, because our bodies require it, as I said already. So as I say, I'm not going to go into the mental and emotional self-care today, because it's going to be probably another 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is just give you a little bit of an outline, and then I'll talk more about it in the next video. So that's about your mind. So when we're going into the mental area, it's about the mind. So what we'll be doing in video 2 of self-care is we will be talking about the mind and the things that we need to do to care for that area. Anyway, my absolute lovely lot, thank you so much. If you're into love and care and angels and psychic stuff and spirituality and yoga and breathwork and meditation, come subscribe, come join me. If you want to get notifications, just hit the bell and you'll get notifications whenever I put a video out. Now, I do put a video out at the end of the week, so it's either going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There'll be one video at least a week. I am hoping to do more in the future. Really looking forward to connecting with you that way. So yeah, come join the community and join me. That would be so lovely, and then we can connect and we can communicate across the board about all these topics that I absolutely love, as you know. Put a comment in if you've got anything interesting that you want to say. I'd be really interested to hear about people's self-care fails and where you've fallen down with self-care, so that maybe I can bring some videos up within the self-care series about that. We can talk about that and discuss that together. Anyway, thank you so much. Namaste, and I will connect with you soon. Take care. Lots of love, everyone. Bye. Kisses. Bye. Bye.